Mexico is very important to Tesla because of the opportunities of exporting lower cost EVs into America.
These things will relate back to Tesla, though. I mean, Tesla's the big one because it's a publicly traded company, because there are a lot of retail investors involved.
All that and more. So let's get to it. Tesla stock is down in the pre-market almost 1%, sitting at $208.68. Year-to-date, Tesla's down over 16.5%. The month of October is typically a lull for most stocks as we enter into the holiday season. Will Tesla be able to buck this trend? Can they become positive before the end of the year?
Elections, we've been talking about the risk there, and it seems to be showing up in the company's plans.
Yeah, and it's now another company joining this, and a big one in BYD. The US elections doesn't directly impact them in as much as they're not entering the US market, but Mexico, given its trade flows and connectivity with the US, for example, it's going to have to take a wait-and-see approach in which of Kamala Harris or Donald Trump enters office, because they both have very hawkish policies or very divergent policies, and whichever one enters office will clearly be more significant for it's going to be a big investment in Mexico. Mexico is a very important market to them, and so it needs to get it right. So at least until November, before they can decide how they make their next step approach, and they were still expecting them to make a decision by the end of the year, but for now they have stopped actively looking for a factory or a site in Mexico in the meantime.
Look. Factories are going to be built in Mexico, regardless of Trump or Harris. It's simply window dressing for the real reason why things have stalled down there. You must allow for the supply chain to be built, or you will be wasting money. Once the supply chain has been filled out, you're looking at a very robust place to build cheap battery electric vehicles. Eventually, BYD would love to ship those cars north. But you're looking at a major export facility that could potentially lower your cost to transport these vehicles. With BYD's aspirations of 50% of their production to be shipped overseas away from China, this is a no-brainer once the supply chain has been ironed out.
And this doesn't just affect BYD, a company like Tesla, for example, and has broader consequences for the wider industry too.
Right, and Tesla has already come out and said, its investment over a multi-year period in relation to EVs. Mexico is very important to Tesla because of the opportunities of exporting lower cost EVs into America. So Elon Musk has been very upfront about this, that they're going to be more cautious and wait until the outcome of the US election result. But then you've seen this huge shift from China. There is an extended supply chain, frankly, moving into Mexico because of what BYD, Tesla, even CATL are doing just south of the US border, frankly. And so
Brazil's Supreme Court upholding a ban on social media platform X had shut down access for some 20 million users.
Why should you care about X in Brazil? Well, undoubtedly, if it affects Elon Musk, it's going to impact Tesla in some way, shape, or form. If you don't know, Brazil has blacked out X. The financial ramifications for Elon Musk's social media network is no joking matter.
So at this point, you can't look at X in Brazil unless you're using a VPN, which Elon Musk has been encouraging people to do. That allows you to circumnavigate the ways that they're blocking it down there. And so it's kind of a standoff at this point. Elon spent the weekend really throwing a lot of tweets at the situation, which probably doesn't help him in the courts down there, but he's kind of made his bet at this point.
From your vantage point, having reported this story out, and looked at some of the legal issues in Brazil, who is in the right? And the reason I ask this is there's been criticism of Elon before where people said, look, if Turkey tells him to shut something down, he shuts it down. If China tells him to shut something down, maybe he shuts it down. I don't know. In this case, he's fighting it. Now, my understanding is he's fighting it because he believes the law is on his side. Is it?
I call it the Musk doctrine. And in places where there are strong men, strong leaders, where he has incredible business opportunities, such as China, he seems to be more deferential to that leadership. Brazil is a unique case here. his businesses, SpaceX, the Starlink satellite system that he has been finding success in the rural parts of Brazil. And so he has some future potential business growth in that market, but he seems to be taking a principled stand. He's making the argument that X will follow the laws of the lands where it operates. So places like China, it's not going to do what it does in the US, for example. But Brazil, he says, the government there is essentially breaking its own laws by asking X to silence political speech. And that's kind of the case he's making. It hasn't gone far. It's another market. I'm no legal expert there, but that's kind of where we're at. Is he's essentially making the case that he is being asked to break the law, and he doesn't want to do that in Brazil.
I may not like everything that Elon Musk says, but he damn sure has a right to say it. I was never one for kicking Trump off of social media. That just seemed like the low-hanging fruit, the easy thing to do instead of combating his rhetoric. Silence is never the answer, and X simply going dark in Brazil, that's going to have unexpected consequences that the government of Brazil, the judicial department of Brazil, simply can't foresee. If you're for free speech, it's kind of hard not to side with Elon Musk on this one, especially as he stands strong as they try to hurt him in a multitude of ways in order to bend him to their will. Like I said before, this is going to have unintended ramifications that no one will probably be able to foresee.
To me, it's one of the first real concrete examples where his efforts in X, his crusade on free speech, is affecting his other businesses. The idea that his Starlink accounts have been frozen in Brazil, that business is essentially operating, not being able to take in revenue, is an escalation of kind of the way he is operating in another part of his life. Investors, until this point, and they seem to still be kind of being patient there, have been giving him a lot of rope, allowing him to go do his things with X. Because Tesla, because SpaceX, they see great potential there, great returns. And that's been kind of what we've seen over the last few years as he has increasingly become more involved in X, become more outspoken, taken more controversial positions.
Do you think these things relate to, will relate back to Tesla, though? I mean, Tesla's the big one because it's a publicly traded company, because there are a lot of retail investors involved.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Tesla isn't in Brazil
yet. Not down there yet.
It's a classic market for automakers to expand in. It's hard to imagine Tesla getting into Brazil in the near term because of this.
That I will agree with. Tesla's not ready to go down there and start selling cars in South America yet. But this very well could be some of those ramifications that will impact Brazil at a later date. It's my understanding that having Tesla facilities in your area is a shot in the arm to your economy. So much, in fact, that government officials court Elon Musk in order to bring Tesla's talent inside their borders. Without a shadow of a doubt, this is going to leave a sour taste in the mouth of Elon Musk. But as Tesla expands, it'll be hard to ignore the opportunity that Brazil could offer. That's why I won't say there'll never be a gigafactory in Brazil. It just is more unlikely. In conclusion, Mexico will be a very high producer of battery electric vehicles in the future. Once they get that supply chain ironed out, it's going to end up being a well-oiled machine. This nonsense about waiting for the right president to be seated in the Oval Office in order for companies to pursue their goals for Mexico expansion makes me want a horse laugh. And Elon Musk's battle of free speech with Brazil has bled into his other companies, Starlink, SpaceX. Will it be so detrimental that it has an impact on Tesla? Probably not. But it is something to take note of. When I bought shares of Tesla, when I wanted a piece of this company, I didn't buy these shares blindly. I know who my CEO is, and he's going to stand up for the things that are important to him. Couple that with Tesla not behaving like a normal automotive company, doing things that might not necessarily make sense financially because of the overarching mission of transitioning the world to a sustainable energy economy. Before you invest in Tesla, you have to understand these things. And you have to be ready for the roller coaster of volatility that comes with investing in this name. For me, it doesn't matter who's in the Oval Office. It doesn't matter what Elon Musk tweets or who he pisses off. The train has left the station on Tesla becoming the most valuable company in a decade's time. All of this FUD noise surrounding the company today is going to sound like utter nonsense a decade from now. That's all I've got for you today. Be easy. Peace.